Good morning and welcome to Fat Cow Farm. Spring has come upon us. It is fantastic out here today. Now, you can see behind me, I'm standing in front of one of our swales. Now, we've been working flat out here at Fat Cow. We started to establish our fences to protect the swales from the cattle and everything else coming through. Now, our next step, because we're going to turn this swale into a food forest. Now, what we need to basically start with is our ground cover. Now, we've got to start protecting our soils so they don't dry out, so that when we start planting out our fruit trees, they've actually got a good moisture content to start with, especially over summer. You can see the swale behind me still got water in it, but it won't be there for that much longer. I reckon we had a good rain the other day, so that's what you can see now, but I would be thinking probably about a month or two, that'll start drying out. Now, what we're going to start doing now is that we're going to start propagating some lavender, just as our first random crop coming through, and we're just going to scatter them around. So I've got a little treat for you. I'll meet you up at the chook shed. We'll show you how to propagate lavender, so I'll see you soon. Okay, so here we are in the chook shed. Now, I've been doing a little bit of gardening this morning, so what I've done is I've just gone through the lavender bushes that we have here already, and I've just cut off a heap of little branches, handful, yeah? And I'll be using these samples as our propagators. Now, what we have here at Fat Cow Farm, because we do a lot of propagating, we use these little forestry trays. Now, these little forestry trays, tube stock, I think they call them, something like that. Now, what we've done is that we fill this up with the soil from the chicken coop. So that's all ready to go. That's probably much why we're here. So we've got little tubes like this, and they just sit in like so. So as you can see, I've already started doing a couple of little lavenders. These guys hold 50. Now we'll probably propagate, I don't know, 3 or 4 of these trays today. And so that for around about 6 months, we'll be ready to start randomly planting those out along the swale. Now, the reason, we've got a crazy chicken. The reason we're going to be doing lavender to start off with is because they can handle the sort of cooler months straight away and start establishing, so that when spring kicks off, bang, they're just going to take off like crazy. But also too, we've got our beehive just behind us up in the forest section there, and that's going to start bringing bees through the whole farm. All right, so with a lot of pollen and everything else going on, we'll be kicking goals. So what I'm going to do, I'll show you how I've set these up. So I'll see you soon. All right then, so here's just a sample of what I've cut off this morning. Now you can see there's a woody stem in there running through the middle, and then all these little offshoots are coming off, and it's those little offshoots that I want. So all I'm doing is just cutting these off like so. And each one of these will start a new little tree, or a little bush, I should say. So what I'm going to do, I'll just clean up this one, and then I'll go through the sample of how we're going to put it all together. And then we can go from there. Piece of cake, mate. I'll see you soon. Okay, so here's one that I've just randomly picked. Now, this one doesn't have a flower, because I noticed that a lot of them do, because we're coming into spring, but I'll just start with this one for the minute. Now, typically what I've done is I've just cut it straight off that woody stem that I showed you before. Now, at this point, I just strip pretty much 3/4 of the leaves off, and I want 2 or 3 leaves. What have I got there? I've got 3 little leaves coming out at that point there. Now, that's all I want to start with. Now, you're probably not going to be able to pick this up, but there's little nodules running down this stem. Now, what I like to do is just cut on the lower side of that nodule. Now, I cut it on a diagonal so that when I go to put it, I've got some hormone growth there, and I'll show you what that is. I stick it in. We've increased the surface area because of that diagonal cut, and then just sits in a pot, mate, and you're all done. So let me get that hormone growth, and I'll see you soon. All right, so what I've got here is my hormone growth for my little stems that we're going to be planting out. Now, I just go to my local supply down here, and what they have is Yates, and that's what I've always used. Now this one is for softwood and semi-hard cuttings. And then there's another one that they have on the market, which I think is a red label, and that's called hard woody materials or something of the sort like that. So you just need to pick and choose which way you want to go. Now, because these are softwood, I've got my soft hormone growth. Now, as I was saying before, we just give this a big shake, mix up all the good gear. And I'm not sure if you're going to be able to pick this up, but you can see the nodules running down the stem. And I've just cut on that lower part of that nodule because that's where the roots are going to start establishing from. So what I do is I just stick that little lavender stem in the hormone growth. And then I make up a little hole here. So I've got my most technical piece of bamboo you could find on the marketplace today. And I just make a hole in the center, like so. I take our little stem, make sure it's well coated. That sits in like so. And then you just need to make sure that all the soil is around that stem. So we've got good surface area. And sorted, mate. Check this out. I'll put that with my collection. Once I'm finished, I'll water them in properly. And then around about 6 months, that tray holds 50 little lavender bushes. No, I should say though, we've tried a few different lavender species out there. And what we find is the English lavender is best for us because of we get some frosty nights over winter. And away we go. Now, what I will do quickly is just show you what I do with the ones with flowers. So just bear with me and I'll see you soon. All right, so here's our little lavender stem with a flower on it. So what I want to do is come in and I'll show you what I do here. Now I try and cut that as close as possible to the top of the two. Now the process begins the same. 1, 2, 3, I count down 3 leaves. I strip the rest. And then I locate my nodules. 1, 2. So that's the nodule I want to cut there. Cut below the nodule on the diagonal. That'll sit into the hormone growth, ready to be potted out. Okay, so nice and easy. So basically what we've done here is, as a little bit of a recap of why we're doing it this way, we're establishing our food forest down along our swale. So what we want to start protecting now is the soils and keep that moisture content in the soils over that summer month. Because as we all know, like lavender bushes grow quite big. So that's going to be perfect. So when we start planting in our fruit trees and everything else in between, they're going to have a great start. Now, what I am under strict instructions here to keep all the lavender flowers and stems and offcuts and all the other gear that goes with it. Because we then put those through our copper pry. And the partners at crime like to take out all the essential oils, so the lavender oils and things like that. Washing and whatever it may be. So away we go. So until next time, I'll see you soon. All right, so finished up the first tray of 50, ready to rock and roll. I'll jump onto the others today as well. Now, I've given these ones a good water in already. Now you can see they'll start going limp and everything else. So don't be alarmed. Around about 2 days, they'll start coming back up. And what you'll need to do is just keep them in the shade. Don't put them in direct sunlight and give them a bit of a water every morning and off they'll come. Piece of cake, mate. And you'll have your 50 ready to rock and roll. Away you go. You can plant them everywhere. It doesn't matter. Bring in all the bees. It's all fantastic. So, like and subscribe. Until next time, I'll see you soon.